Okay, so I've just received a special request concerning this video. So this will be the actual coming out video of me being targeted by a celebrity when I was a kid. My name is Julian Peterson. I was born in White Plains, New York. I was raised in Yonkers, New York. Um, my family has fame and celebrity on both sides of the fam. My father's a Barksdale, and there's a couple of, athletes and actors on my mother's side of the family. Um, so when I was growing up, I had a cousin named Anthony Paris Mitchell, who was the son of Diane Donaldson. Diane Donaldson was the fiance of a heavyweight boxer named Carter Truth Williams, who stayed in Elmsford, New York. 2-floor house. He had a Bronco, a Mercedes Benz. My grandmother, who was my mom's mom and my aunt's mom, stayed in White Plains, New York. It's about a 15-20 minute drive, if that, from Carl. Yeah, that's also the city that I had my encounters with Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman, if you don't know who he is, he's a boxing commentator and analyst. So when Max was first signed to HBO, I guess he was in his early 20s. That's when I was around him. I was actually around him when he was first signed. He was 6 years older than my cousin, and my cousin is 6 years older than me. And easy arithmetic, Max is about 12 years older than me. So from kindergarten, which is the age of 6, what I can recollect, to about the age of 10, not including the school years or the school days, because I was back and forth between two cities, White Plains and Yonkers. But he probably was around me before, probably when I was a baby and I couldn't really remember anything. But to give you a little briefing on what was going on, is my perception of it was, as we're going to the gym, also known as the Teen Lounge. The Teen Lounge was by Eastview School in White Plains, New York. There's a track there. It's like an elementary school. There was a bowling alley over there. My recollection, if we weren't at Carl's house witnessing domestic violence between Carl and my aunt, we were at my grandmother's house at 2 Windsor Terrace. And Max and Paris was friends, so being that they were from White Plains, or they lived in White Plains, I used to come from Yonkers to be with my older cousin and to be around, I guess, his friends. I mean, he had a lot of friends, and I guess he had that type of crowd because, he was known as the rich boy. So he was also and often targeted by other community members. When I say community members, I'm not talking about the actual rainbow community, which he probably was, because Max was an advocate for the community and he was open about it. And I guess the HBO money shut him up. I'm talking about, we were like in a predominantly Caucasian, Hispanic community. So my cousin is darker than me. He's dark skinned. And at the time when I was a kid, I had the Aberranian in full effect, and I was called Redskin. I was the entertainer for Max Kellerman and my cousin and my cousin's friends. I was the fighter, the street fighter. That was the most popular game also. The most popular movie at the time, even though it came out way before when, was Rocky. So making this video because I was asked to make this video, and I appreciate the help. So I'll just get into more detail about my circumstances. My cousin had me upstairs, I guess getting me tougher, preparing me for fights because he was going through a lot. And I fought all types of Italian kids, Hispanic kids, white kids, and then they would all come together, and they had a Jamaican kid that was a fighter, and they used to try to like set me up as a little kid and like try to hurt me and jump me, sneak me and stuff like that. And Max expressed to my cousin, like he kind of liked how I moved because I never backed down. I always fought, and I never like cried. I always got more mad and got more agitated than everybody else when people were disturbing me. So it wasn't like I could come outside and just have a nice solid day. I came outside to have about 5, 6, maybe 9 fights that day. A cool day would probably be like 3. I fought 3 different people, or 4 rounds for one person, and then it was over. Now, what was interesting about this situation is that Max Kellerman, he had an advantage because his family was heavy into law enforcement, whether they were prosecutors or police officers. And at the time, the police officers, they used to try to intimidate me in Paris because we were always victorious against other kids that resembled the police officers, meaning they had the same race and ethnicity, the same eye color and hair color. So me and Paris would get chased by the police. They try to run us over. They threaten us. They stare at us, try to stare a hole through us or whatever. But if Max was there, like the police would try to play it off, and they'll let it rock. What Max got to do is show me that he waves them off and they drive away. So he showed me some type of authority and power, and then they'll just let us fight. It was a few times where the police was just letting us fight, and they were watching, cheering us on. And these fights weren't just like, I could say for myself, these fights weren't just like little kids, like a little hit there. Like, I was really trying to break y'all off. Like, if you're watching, everybody that I fought back in the day, like, you remember me. Like, I was really, for what you guys were, the way you guys were singling me out and targeting me, like, I really had it in for y'all. Like, I really wanted to get at y'all for that. Like, I never started. I used to get snuck and blindsided. I used to get choked from behind for no reason. And I would have to bust up out of it and just, I was manhandle whoever used to try to hurt me. So I don't have no resentment towards my own actions. I really don't care about none of y'all to this day. Everybody in that community, I know we're still older, and kids would be kids, but y'all can still get it to this day. Like, I hold a grudge against each and every one of you, because everybody knew Max was a celebrity. It was one little girl who she put her foot down. That's the only person that I actually have some type of heart for. And she was like, "Stop calling him Redskin. You need to stop." And she just put it on him, on Max. She was yelling at him like it was weird because Max is weird. Like, him having that disability, with the eye, he has a back problem, but he also sees things that aren't there. So that whole situation was weird, like, because I've seen like things that I couldn't explain that I was told that was fake and fictional, at a young age, seeing his eyes turn 5 different colors, seeing one eye being sky blue, the other eye dark blue, and the sky being 2 different shades of blue. And I'm close on him, and when I back up, because you can see in my peripheral the sky, like when I back up, like the dark blue turns into light blue. Like, it was insane. Like, or him backing up when the little girl was yelling at him, his eyes turning black, and then him looking left, and then his eyes are turning brown, like, and he looked digital. Like, Max Kellerman was something to be around. Like, I'll talk about, I already went through all types of tests at the mental health clinics. I was actually diagnosed as not having a mental health issue. I was diagnosed as being an abused person growing up. So, I've seen, like, I learned mirrors, like what the hell a mirror really is. Like I said, I made it myself. I made this whole saying myself. Mirror, mirror on the wall is a female's game. There's no mirrors in the insanity ward. Which community you're teaching it to? You know. So besides me being a fighter for Max, and it was barbaric and brutal, Max was also the first person to introduce me to homosexuality, to in which him and another celebrity named Mary J. Blige, I was the first people I seen with transgenders in White Plains, New York. And they used to like the adults back in the day when I was a kid, like I said, I'm 36, they used to be so childish. So if I had my back turned, they would do something like spooky or do something like this behind my back, and I would catch them. And I was just a little kid. Come to find out, my parents weren't the most liked, like, my family, period. Like, nobody really liked my family at all, And then when I got older, I learned the history of my father and my mother or whatever, and it wasn't really the best history possible from what I've heard. And, I don't know it for a fact, but it's from what I heard. But going back to Max, I remember, basically seeing things that I really probably didn't see. It was like kind of like an illusion. But one thing I remember him doing over and over again was, like, for some reason, like, having a blackout in the gym. Like, I remember seeing him, like, standing there, like, by the ring was on this side and the music was on this side, and he's just like this cold consciousness, and then the music and the lights go off. Like, oh, I'm like, maybe it's a trick they're playing on me. But the receptionist, the Spanish girl that was the receptionist, she was beautiful too. She used to be scared, and she used to yell and scream and be like, "Oh my gosh, Max is here!" And, like, she used to be scared, like. And then the boxes that was at the gym, and mind you, Carl never came to that gym when I was there. The boxers used to have to escort Max to the bathroom and escort him away. And people used to pull his card and be like, "Yeah, no kids. The kids aren't safe around him." They used to call him a weirdo. Max used to cry. Like, he was, like, really intimidated. If he used to walk around the gym in the tux or whatever, the boxers would be like, "Get away from me." And he'll look around, like, Max would look around like he wanted to grab something. And, like, hit the boxers with, like, he was so scared or whatever. But, it was the fights. He was right there, like, he'll keep his distance. And my cousin up there wrapping the fight up, and then whoever I was fighting probably had, like, an older sibling or older cousin there, and they're just instigating the fight. And then it was just every single day of the summer or any type of vacation. If it was warm enough to be outside, we'll be outside. If it was too cold, we'll be inside fighting. Like how Mike Vick was, allegedly fighting pit bulls. Like, I was being fought like a pit bull. But the reason why it was such an attraction to Max is because it was like, it was like he knew, like, I know it sounds childish, but it was like he knew magic, like, to me. And then having this female, the way she responded, and then learning, like, 3 wise men approached Jesus, and then you wonder what really is a wise man if Jesus knew how to perform miracles, and miracles was magic, supposedly, or whatever. So it was interesting. I had a beautiful Hispanic woman. I'm talking about, she was bad. She was gorgeous. She used to be like, "Come here, Poppy, please come here and sit with me, because I know you're not scared of him." And then he'll come and he'll just stare or whatever, like, at us. Like he smelled bad too, like, and then, like, weird stuff would start happening. Like, I seen, like, I don't know if it was like a trick mirror, but I seen something like like another person that wasn't there in the mirror, like at a young age, like that. That joint used to like, it used to mesmerize me more than anything, because I was just like, see, he knows magic, and I used to tell Paris like, he knows magic, like, but I wanted to be a boxer, like I wanted to learn magic so I could be like a master boxer. You see, that's how my little kid mentality was. Like, and then like the lights would go off, the music would go off, and then seeing him be escorted by, the boxers were crazy. So mind you, he never spoke to me, never shook my hand, but he would try to like pick me up like from behind when nobody was in the gym, and I used to run. And then the boxers would be like, "What, did he do something to you? Did he do something to you?" And I was just too scared. I was like, you know what I'm saying? I got out of there. I ran. So I was just like, nah, whatever. And they'll come in and look at him. They'll be like, you need to stay away from kids. Like, stuff like that. And then, like, if I just got finished, fighting or whatever, and he'll like beat us to the boxing gym, and then I would go to the bathroom, but he'll anticipate me going to the bathroom, try to drink some water, because I was too short for the water fountain. So I used to go to, everybody used to be like, he's drinking out the faucet. There's like, somebody buy him some water or whatever. So I used to go to the bathroom like dry mouth, red, hot, tired, turn on the faucet and drink from the faucet. That's how tired I was or whatever. He used to be in the bathroom or whatever. And then like one time, it was a few times where the boxers seen him come in the bathroom after me, and they'll come right in and they'll just stay there. They're like, come on, shorty, or whatever. So I remember one time I walked into the bathroom, but I used to look to see if he was in the stool, because he used to be like, I guess, taking a number 2, or he used to just sit in there. I don't know. So like if I seen him in there first or whatever, like I wouldn't go. You know what I'm saying? Or if one of the boxers would be like, go in there, you're good, you could drink out of the faucet, while he's in there like sitting on the stool, then I would go in, because I know the boxer, told me to. So the relationship was weird, because he never spoke to me, never gave me high five. You know what I'm saying? And like he barely spoke to my cousin. Like I don't even have that much recollection of them talking. Like they've talked, like my cousin would talk them first, and then Max will be like, he'll say nothing, and then like my cousin will ask him again, and then he'll finally say like one word answers or something like that or whatever. I also had another cousin that's a rapper around us. His name is Sosa Geek. He was around the situation too. Like he wasn't involved with us, but he would be like strolling by, because he was like a stroller, like anyway, wanderer or whatever. So if you look up Sosa Geek, you can see he's related to us. So it was one time where Max was in the bathroom, but I guess he was standing on top of the stool. So I started using the stool, like he was standing on top of the toilet, and I was, the tall urinals that's on the wall. They had a one that was short for the little kids to go. Then they had the ones that were higher up, or whatever. So I would go to the middle one, and I would tippy toe, and I would pee in the bigger one. It was like a short man complex thing. I would pee in the bigger one, and then I hear his feet like come down. I look behind me, and I see him coming out, and he opens the door, and he's staring at me as, I'm using the bathroom or whatever. So I was shook, and I hurried up, because I hurried up or whatever, and he started laughing. So I washed my hands real quick, and he was just staring at me like, I just ran out and you know what I'm saying? And then he came in the bathroom a few times, like, or whatever. But I never said nothing, because I was scared of the police. Because, they would just say I was lying. And then they'd be like, he's a bad kid, he's out here fighting anyway. So, I would still fight for Max or whatever. Because, other people didn't like him. Like, the little kids did not like Max. Like, nobody except me and Paris. It was me, Paris, and Max versus the whole entire Eastview, the whole entire White Plains, New York. I was the fighter. Paris was Don King. And Max was the whole... He was Bob Arum, I guess. Like, he was the whole promotion company. Like, that's just what it was. Like, so, people would come up to us and be like an older adult, be like, Max, you're a weirdo. You hang around a bunch of little kids, and they'll look at me and be like, stay away from him, yo. And you even more wrong. You too old to be having your little cousin. Like, what if something happens? Like, this is the stuff that used to happen, or whatever. So I would be quiet, like, and I would take it offensive because he never really did nothing physically to me yet. So this is before the age of 8, because I guess it was 94 in March when I was 8, about to turn 9. Or maybe it was 95. It was actually when he dropped his rap song. So you could look that up. Yeah, that's when it was 3 weeks prior to him dropping his rap song is when he actually physically touched me. And we was at the ice skating rink in New York. Mind you, it's still no conversation. He never gave me a handshake. It was nothing. Like, it was always just, he was just there, like, with me in Paris. So Max walks in the ice skating rink. This is the entrance to, like, I guess, like, it was like a ballroom, like a lobby, and there's another entrance going this way. Mind you, my back is turned. I know the camera is a little different. This is my right hand, and this is my left hand. All right, so it's an entrance here into the lobby, and there's another entrance into the ice. So my cousin Paris tells me stay here, wait for my cousin Marcy, right? Female or whatever. Wait for my cousin Marcy to come. So while he went in there, because he had a girl that he was talking to, so he didn't. That was another problem he had with his mom. He didn't like taking me everywhere, or whatever. Meanwhile, I'm in the lobby with a girl, cute little white girl. She dancing with me. She dancing behind me. She was probably a little older than me or whatever. We was both on the ice skates. Max walks in, and it was like a crowd. It was like two sets of crowds. There was a crowd by the door, and there was a crowd behind us. So it's like I felt them, like I knew he was coming. So I hurried up and looked at the door, and I anticipated him coming. And she was still staring at me. And she was like, what you know? She said something, got my attention. I looked at her, and I looked at him, and then she looked at him. And she was like, oh. So he walks behind us, right? So I just turned back around. But I see him in the corner of my peripheral vision. And I see his hand. It looked like he wanted to smack me, but he takes his left hand and, like, it went too low. And he, like, squeezed. And he, like, squeezed. You know how you got your nutsack, and then you got the island? Like boys, I know all dudes, y'all know. Like, you got that island that separates your actual sack and your actual ass. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that joint hurt. Like, if you ever pulled it before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, he squeezed. Like I was short. Alright, so at the time, I wasn't as short. Like, I wasn't considered small at the time, because I was fighting so much. I was considered big, and I was a big little kid from fighting so much. But he's about 5'10", 5'11", right? And his arms are long, but he squeezes. Like, I don't know if he tried to grab my belt buckle, like grab my belt, or grab my, I don't know what his intentions was. And I'm not justifying it. But long story short, his left hand winds up grabbing my nuts in my island, and he squeezed it, and I lost my brain. Like, I couldn't believe it because it hurt. Like I felt like he pinched that. Like, he took his whole hand and pinched my whole general area. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's like, sometimes I don't have no kids. Like, sometimes I have a numbing feeling down there. Like, and it reminds me of, like, on how he touched me. Like, if you ever been, like, I've been stabbed before, so it's like, sometimes I feel the sensation, like, it's like it diddles, like it plays over again of me getting stabbed. So sometimes I feel like I got stabbed, like, in the same spot. You see what I'm saying? Or if you get a bump or something, I guess it's like a memory, like you actually feel it, like you actually feel it when it's really not happening again. You know what I'm saying? But he squeezed there, and he caught my island, my whole private area, like from behind. Like, it was like his wrist was perfectly in between my ass cheeks. Like, I'm being dead serious. And everybody seen him, and everybody lost it. I'm talking about they started screaming. Like, it was simultaneously too, like we all lost it at the same. They seen him because I was like, ah, and they said, oh my God, he just grabbed that little, and they went off. And the girl was like, oh no, he did. She started yelling and yelling. She started yelling for help or whatever, and he ran into the ice. Dude runs into the ice. So everybody, so I'm screaming, like, I'm like, and I started like crying, and like I was tearing because I was so mad. Like, I wanted to punch him in his mouth. Like, I got pissed. Like, and everybody already knew that I was one of those little kids that'll fight you. Like, I punch it. Like, it was grown men, like, back in the day. Like, I used to punch them in their face. Like, if they was in their seat and they kept messing with me too much, because by that time I was on game. I was like, oh, nobody likes my dad and nobody likes my mom, and that's why they're doing this to me. And no, I'm not letting nothing rock. Like, I would punch a grown man in the face. Like, he'll be in his seat or whatever, and he's trying to like lie on me or something. Like, it was a bunch of times, like, with LGBTQ community members. Like, I seen they was trying to make me say the F word. I seen him like kept giving me too much eye contact, and then they be like, I'm a grown man, you're not supposed to be treating me like that. Like, I'll hawk off and punch him right in their face. Bop! With no hesitation. That's what type of kid I was. I did not care, right? But people seen that I wasn't lying about nothing. Like, people used to actually start with me first, just based off my parents or whatever. And like I said, I wasn't backing down for nothing. Like, this grown men used to kick me, like they used to try to kick me in my chest and kick me in my stomach or kick me in my back. This is prior to this and afterwards too. Like, you know what I'm saying? They used to try to they'd be like, I dare you to call me that, FA66ET word. They used to dare me or whatever. And then somebody would be like, listen, that's not your child. That's not your family member. Like, why are you one-on-one with this kid? And then well, I didn't do anything. It does not matter. Why are you? And they used to teach me that. They're like, yo, don't keep doing what you're doing. Like, other adults that weren't part of the community, they used to be like, keep doing what you're doing. We know that you fight. They was like, fight. They was like, yes, fight. If these people do whatever to you, they was like, because a lot of stuff happened before you wasn't even born, and these people got it in for you. So once I learned that, I'm like, oh no, I'm not taking nothing. If I feel uncomfortable, it's a wrap. So the people running the ice, they was like, get him, call the cops, get him. So they was like, where's his cousin? They was looking for Paris. So people started screaming like, Paris, hurry up. So Max hurry up and run. As he's running, and we all like in a group, the girl that was dancing with me, he pushed her into me. So when he pushed her from behind, like, I seen him coming out, and I tried to turn around quick, but and we on ice skates. He wasn't on ice skates. He pushed her into me. I fell backwards and we crunched. Like, I bent like this. Like, she was here. Like, she fell like this and she made me bent like under my legs. Like, wow. So I ate it though. I got up mad quick. My back was hurting. Bro. And you know what I'm saying? If you look at my x-rays and my MRIs, I got fractures in my spine. They're calling it degenerative disc disease. And, you know, I got spondylosis, spondylolisthesis, scoliosis. My right leg is longer than my left leg by like 3.5 centimeters or whatever, and I still can't get no type of disability. Even though I'm still an exceptional athlete, you know what I'm saying, I still can't get anything for it. So he pushed her and she started cursing. I got up or whatever, and I was like bawling, and my cousin run. He was like, yo, get up. So somebody was yelling at my cousin, was like, yo, you're doing that on purpose, yo. Like, you're doing that, you're letting your cousin drown. He looked at me, he was like, buddy, don't even be around him. And he's like, you probably don't even got no choice. And he walked out. He's like, yo, that's disgusting. And there was another LGBT community dude, like I knew he was like a homosexual or whatever. He was like, no, this is a bad example of us or whatever. Mind you, I already knew Max liked transgenders. He used to walk around with Mary J. Blige and two transgenders I was familiar with. Big black, dark-skinned dudes dressed as girls, right? And I remember one time we was at Eastview on the track, and the police came, and I posted a video on one of my pages where they cut the block off. They let Max the transgenders go into the street, cut the blocks off on both ways so nobody could go in and go out. They was sniffing cocaine, and I seen Max go down and perform fellatio on another male, on a transgender. The dude was some big black Jamaican dude, like, cause the way they used to yell, and he was talking patois, you know. Maybe he was something different. Could have been a different race or ethnicity. I don't know. I just heard him speak patois, so I'm not saying, you know, that. Whatever. I'm not putting some type of stigma on them. I'm just saying that's what it was. That's what I heard. I'm just being honest with you. So I seen that before, and that made me shy away from him. Now, he didn't touch me at that time, but that made me shy away from him. The fights was still happening or whatever, but like I said, I thought he was like some type of magician or whatever. So I stopped going around him, like, and I used to walk all the way in back. And my cousin was just, you know what I'm saying, he was just like, yo, Max is here, da, 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 da. And I never felt no type of way. It just scared me even more. But back to the story, my cousin come, he getting yelled at. He was like, yo, I wasn't here, but I could just sense like my cousin is being a little phony. So he grabs me or whatever, like, come on, we leaving. So I put my stuff on, I put my shoes on, take the ice skates off. He was like, man, I don't want to tell nobody. I'm like, what you mean? And then somebody followed us home, like, no, you're going to tell the cops. Like, they was like, that's our problem with you because we know about you. So therefore, my cousin lived a life that I still don't know nothing about. You see what I'm saying? And after my cousin's mom, my aunt, left Carter True Williams, she started a homosexual relationship with another woman. And my cousin was in the household, and they both had sons. Like, the other woman became a dyke, and she had a son. And she used to do construction and stuff like that. So they walking us to Two Windsor Terrace or whatever, like, no, we're going to make sure, like, you say something. Because he was like, yo, what happened? I'm like, man, he grabbed my thing from behind, and he thought it was, like, kind of funny or whatever. And then that's when I got mad at my cousin. I'm like, yo, you know what? I was like, yo, I said something to him. He was like, oh, nah, chill. And he must have felt that I was getting older, too. Like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of fighting for this white man. I'm tired of fighting for you. And now that I'm hearing that you're living a different life, like, you're way older than me, I'm like, hold on. Like, I started getting smarter or whatever. So then we went in the house, and my grandmother and my aunt was home. But my grandmother wasn't home yet because she used to work in the hospital, so she had to do overtime. She used to work at St. Agnes, I think it was. And he was like, Mom, I don't want to tell you, but I think I got to tell you because you're probably going to find out anyway. And she was like, what? And he was like, Max touched him. And she was like, what you mean? Like, she got mad. She was like, what you mean? And she pulled him in the room. Whatever. And then she came out the room mad fast, like stomping, bust open and they put me in the back room, bust open the other room or whatever. And she was like, she sat down, she was like, tell me exactly what happened. I told her, and she was like, oh my, she started crying and bawling or whatever. She could tell I was like crying too. She's like, what you want to do? I was like, I want to kill him. Like, I hate him. Like, why did he do that or whatever? And she was like, oh my God. She started crying or whatever. So she left us in the crib. When she left us in the crib, she went to the police station. This is at night. So she came back or whatever. So he's still in my grandma's room. I'm still in the back room or whatever. And then she came back. She was like, I told the cops. And these mother, and she started cursing and such and such. And as she's cursing and going off, my grandma come. And then my grandma's like, oh, what's going on? She had Paris in her room, and she was like, what? Oh my God, my grandma spazzed. She made them leave. She called me. I went in the room. And she could tell I was crying. She was like, please don't say nothing. We're going to handle it the best way possible because your father is going to kill him or your mother is going to try to kill him. I'm being dead serious. She was like, we don't need that attention right now because his family don't play either. His family is like, they're killers too. That's what my grandma told me. She was like, because I know them. So I'm all scared and shit. Excuse my language. I'm all scared or whatever. And next morning, all you hear is the door. Boom, 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 boom. They basically about to break the drink down. Officer called my aunt, BITCH. And he was like, don't ever come back down here again, filing no false complaints. And she was like, they shouldn't be around him he was like, they shouldn't be around him anyway. And then he said, and my aunt was like, F you, you effing. She called him the F word. She said, FUCKU, you FA66ET. And he was like, what? White dude. He was like, what? What? BITCH? He was like, I'll kill your son. He was like, we'll kill your son and him. And she was like, what? And she started crying. She slammed the door. She was like, she's like, I don't know who to call now. She was like, I don't know who to call and I don't want them to kill my son or whatever. And I believe she said something. She said it to somebody, but she didn't say that. She was like, who do you call on the police if the police not doing their job? There's like the FBI. And then my aunt didn't believe him. My aunt was like, the FBI? Like, what is the FBI going to do? He's like, no, really, it's the FBI. So she never took the initiative, and then she made me promise not to tell nobody because they threatened to kill us. And, after that, I stopped, I stopped being around my cousin because my aunt was like, you know what? She told my mom, she's like, you know what? It's time for Jew and time for Paris to grow apart. They too close to each other. They be crying when they leave each other or whatever. My mom was like, yeah, you're right. So I'm going to just keep Jew home or whatever, or let him go to his father's side of the family or whatever. So I'm sitting up there like, I'm hoping my aunt do tell my mom because I really still feel some type of way. And I'm just thinking about all the fights I had, all the times I got snuck. Him looking at me now, I'm putting it together. He's seeing me, like he's seeing my privates or whatever. Like he's trying to pick me up. I'm thinking about me catching him in the act, And then one time I remember my actual dad, because my dad is like 6'5", my actual father. Like I guess he had that parent intuition. Like he popped up. He was across the street, like. And Max was in front of me, like, staring at me like this. Then Max looked, and he got dumb scared. He seen my dad, and my dad looked, like, ferociously pissed off. I'm talking about my father staring a hole through him, like. So something is telling me not to say hi to my own dad. Like, I'm looking, and I see him staring at Max. And the way he was staring at Max, it was like this is before the touching. I started getting happy. I'm like, yeah. My pop's about to come over here and beat you up. Because he know what you doing. You got me fighting all these people. It must have got back to the projects that's on the other side. Like, I'm like, yeah. Or whatever. So I'm looking. I'm about to say something. To my pops like, yo, Dad, come here. Mind you, I was like 7. Real talk. Like, I was one of them young cats that was always around older cats. So I knew not to snitch. I knew how to lie. I was like thugged out, like as a little kid. I see my dad, and my dad got a wife beater on. My dad is walking, it's hot. I'm talking about scorching hot outside. My pops is standing there, I'm like, looking like Debo, coming towards him, like he walking towards Max. Like he's across the street, he about to walk. And guess what happens? The police whoop, pulled up, jumped out on my pops, threw my pops up, put him in cuffs. He was like, yo, y'all not about to arrest me in front of my son, right? So they was like, oh, that's your son. And then my pops was like, he started screaming. And then cause you know, like they used to think I was Carter Truth Williams' son. If you look at Carter Truth Williams, you can see like there's some type of resemblance or whatever, but not really because I'm a totally different color. But you can see like it's some type of resemblance or whatever. So they was like, oh, that's your son. And my pop started screaming like, no, why'd I say that? So they put him in cuffs and arrested my pops right in front of me. And Max looked at me. He started laughing like hard, like he started laughing. So I was looking at him. I'm like, and I started thinking like, why is he laughing? Like, and he looked at Paris. He was like, come on. So Paris was like, all right. Well, it was like very few times then, you know, you speaking. So I'm like, I started crying, like, you know what I'm saying? I started crying. They arrested my pops or whatever. So I walked into the teen lounge or whatever. And I was crying. He was like, yeah, you a little badass. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third. And one time he did defend me. He was like, chill. Don't even say that. And then he started talking. He was like, little man just lost his father. Like, he's like, you in here and assuming. They said, oh, now you want to speak up for him or whatever. And you got him out here. We know he not bad. You got him out here fighting for you or whatever. He's like, yeah, but he just lost his dad, man. Like, he's like, stop. That was the only time he ever like kind of like defended me. But this is before the touching. So fast forward. So now I'm in Yonkers or whatever. And, you know, I turned 9. And now here's summertime comes and my aunt was like, I miss my nephew. And then my grandma was like, bring my grandson out here. So, you know, I go back out in the summertime. So this is like August, end of July, August-ish. I come outside with Paris. Didn't see Max the whole entire summer. Come outside with Paris because we was at Carl's house. And Carl was rich. He was wealthy. He was a professional boxer. He was taking us to Playland, Toys R Us, out to eat, or we was just chilling in the big house in his den watching movies. He would smoke weed or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We just relaxing and eating all day and stuff like that. So Max, when Paris takes me outside when we go to my grandma's house, and Max is there, right? So Paris is talking to me like, yo, I know you feel uncomfortable on the circumstances of what happened with you and Max a while ago. He was like, but, you know, I talked to Max. He said he was sorry. You know, sometimes he see things that's not there, which is true. Because I remember one time they had to clear the whole gym out, and he's up there like crying, and his eyes look so crazy, and he's squinting down, he's like, and laughing and crying at the same time, like he was going crazy. That joint was horrifying. I'm looking at him and everybody ran out the gym. The Spanish girl was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this no more. And everybody ran, like all of the professionals that was like in the offices, they was like, all right, they cleared the gym out. They was like, y'all gotta be out of here until we calm him down. They called the ambulance, they called the site ward, they called all types of people. He was like, like, I thought it was fake. I thought he was like having like, he looked like a bad guy in a cartoon. You know how a bad guy started losing his mind in a cartoon? Like, he looked like that. Like he looked like Two-Face, like Harvey Dent, like losing his mind. So I went back and got close on him. I started to go and touch him. Like, there's like, get back. So I and he was like, his eyes looked crazy. He's like, And the ambulance came. He was like, no, I'm not leaving in the ambulance. And the doctor came. The doctor had the little, you know, that little round thing, like Dr. Giggles or whatever. And He came, he's like, Max, calm down. He started talking to him, calming down. I'm telling you, like, dude is like, if there is like some type of like jinns or whatever, or like, you know, mental health patients are jinns, or mental health patients are probably supernatural, he is he was the epitome of it. Cause I used to see him wow out, and that was the last time, that was the last straw for a lot of people. People was like, we don't even want to be around him, cause he coming in here every day with a tuxedo, looking like he works in a funeral home. The sport of boxing is already barbaric, like, it was crazy. So Paris is like, yo, you know, he be bugging out, he can't help it, you trust me, yo, I'll be around him. When I take you upstairs, I'll be around him. He was like, all them things you said you thought was real, he was like, and then people said it was fake, he was like, I see it too. So he started like opening me up, like he do like he know magic, Jew, that's why I be around him or whatever. So I'm like, but what that got to do with him touching me? And he was like, you gonna find out when you get older, little cousin. He was like, cause I already know, but you too young to understand it. I'm like, I'm not too young to understand it. That he grabbed me down there. So he hearing us talk. Right? So then my own cousin sets me up, cause his friend comes with another kid that was huge. But we was around the same age. I think the kid was a little older than me. But we was still like young. And Max is dead. So he looks at Max, and he was like, yo, give me some time. Maybe I could make him, like, you know, make him be all right with you again. That's what he said. So as he's talking to Max, his back is turned. Paris's friend, big Italian dude, this kid was huge. Both of them was huge. Put it like this. The dude that I fought was bigger than my older cousin. So Max is all the way behind us on the track, and the dude come up to me. And he was like, yo, who are you? And his older cousin started laughing, or his older brother started laughing or whatever. So I'm like, what? So he looked at my cousin, and he looked at me. He was like, I don't like you. Out of nowhere. Like, he just came out. He just said, I don't like you. I'm like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it. He was like, I don't want you to have kids. I don't want you to have sex. I don't want you to get married. I don't want you to have a girlfriend. He was like, I hate you. And he started walking up to me. And when he said that, mind you, I knew nothing about racism. I was 9 years old. I knew nothing about racism, sexism, or anything like that. And he started walking up to me. But when he said it like he was trying to intimidate me. But I snapped. I was like, what you say? So he started walking up to me. I hook off on him. Bow, 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 bow. I go for his legs. He was big too. Like I said, at a young age, I was strong, and I was big too. Like, I used to lift up my older cousin. My older cousin was like 6 years older than me or whatever, taller than me and everything. I used to know how to go for his legs, and I was a little kid, 9-year-old I was strong, yo, and my growth got stunning. Mind you, my pops is 6'5", my mom is tall for a woman. So I used to put my cousin on my back like this and walk around and slam him, like, you feel what I'm saying? I was a strong little kid, like, for real. So I picked him up. I slammed him right on his neck. Bomb! His cousin was like, oh, hell no. So I feel Max walking towards me, and then I look behind. And it just came out like he started walking towards us. I guess he tried to break it up. So I slammed him on the concrete on his neck. So he was like staggery or whatever. So his older cousin like cocked back. And my cousin Paris was like, yo, if you hit my little cousin, he's like, you my man and all. He was like, he's like, all jokes aside, I'm dead serious. And he was like, y'all just moved over here. So I'm like, what? So the kid caught back and caught himself. He's like, if you hit my older cousin, I'm going to bring my older cousin upstairs. He said, and I'm going to kill you. He's like, I'm dead serious. He said, if you hit my little cousin, I'm going to kill you. He's like, you heard what he just said. They was Italian or Spanish or something like that. So the kid was getting up. And I slammed him on his neck, like really slammed him on his neck, but he was staggering. So I see Max walking, and then I was just so enraged. So instead of stopping, because usually when I stop, like when I hurt somebody, like the other times, I stop. I'm like, yeah, that's what you get. I knew when, to fall back. I hit him again. Boom! I hit him again. Boom! Mind you, I be upstairs all day practicing combinations on a pillow, like hitting dolls and stuff hitting. He had me like practicing. I hit him like a good 4 to 6 more times. Boom, boom. Haymakers too, hard punches. I was a strong little kid. So I was hitting him so hard that I actually stood him up. Like, I remember not too long ago, I punched somebody. I had gotten to an argument with somebody, and I punched him and I put him to sleep on his feet. And as he was falling out, like, he hit the wall and woke up. So when I was younger, I hit him like, and he was getting up. I hit him like, bang, bang, all hooks. I got like close on him too. Bang, 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 bang. And I guess when the left connected, Max started running to us fast. Like, he started walking to us fast, and the kid got up like, he stumbled up. Like, it was like awkward. So I went for his legs again, and they was like, oh no! The people was walking by, because I guess they seen it. They was like, oh no! I slammed him up. I picked him up, slammed him. Boom! He fell directly on his neck. Like this. Like, it bounced like that. And he got, like, when he got up like it was like a cartoon. Like, he bounced up. His eyes was shut, bro. And I'm not even BSing you. And, like, we was on the track, and he walked across the street, not looking or nothing. Walked across and walked in the house. Like, we literally, all 4 of us, me, Max, my cousin, and his brother or his cousin or whatever, literally watched him, like walk into his house, and he laid on the couch. Mind you, I just told you Max got 5 different eye colors: green, all types of shades of blue, gray, brown, and black. Like, when he got up from the slam, like, he popped up like it was like paranormal, I promise. And I looked at him, he looked like he was out on his feet. Like, his eyes weren't open. Like, I don't understand how he got into the house. To this day, like, I almost shedded a tear because I was scared. Like, I don't know how he knew, how he directed himself into the house. I still don't know. Like, if you, like, I seen him, and it was like a shadow over him. Like I was looking at him. I don't know if I was ready to black out from being tired, but I wasn't that tired. So that's why my vision was a little, it was a little off, I guess. And I see, sometimes you see spots. So I don't know if it was like a spot for me being exhausted looking at him. His eyes were closed. He got up, like, in a funny, like, paranormal, like, scare, like, I'm getting chills, like, scary way, and walked across the street and walked into his house, laid on the couch. So when we looking through the window, mind you, the couch is facing, all right, so this is the track. We're on the track. This is the street, and this is his house, right? So you can see into the front windows, and I got all of it on record. I got the recordings, so you can see I'm not BSing. So when you see his couch here, you see that the TV is by the window, so you can't see the TV, but you can see him watching the TV if he was watching TV. But we seen him laying down on the couch, and he just stayed on the couch, completely still. So Paris grabs me. He grabs me like, come on. And Max was like, come on. Right? So his brother or cousin, the dude that I fought, that's how I knew I seen something like weird. Because he was like, he was frozen. Dude was frozen. I couldn't believe it. He was like, I'm looking at everybody. The black spots ain't on Max. The black spots ain't on Paris or this other dude. And we all like got our jaws dropped except for Max. Max is just staring at him, right? So I'm like, and he grabbed me. He's like, let's go. So we go. And Max was like, go ahead. He was like this. So we had walked all the way around the block. He took me upstairs. And the dude was just there, like. And then I seen him leave. He didn't go in the house, people. He like walked up toward the stores. It was like Like he had to walk, like he walked away, like from the whole. He didn't even go in his own crib. Like he went up the block where the pizzeria is. He went towards going to Lake Street in Kensico, South Kensico, and Kensico or whatever is another real place. So I go upstairs, and he was like, "Nah, you're not going back home. Like, you're not going outside. Like, you're staying home." So, boom, he was like, "I'm going outside." Right? So he waited until my aunt came home. My aunt came home, then he left. So we got a phone call. Person was looking for Paris. She was like, "Paris isn't here. Who's calling?" "Oh, I'll tell him to call you." Yada, yada, yada. Phone rings again like an hour or two later. Maybe like 2 hours later. So now, like, the nighttime done hit. As she was like, "Paris is not here," he walks through. She was like, "Oh no, here he is right here." Whatever they talked about, Next day we wake up, we're about to go outside. Right? He was like, "Come on, let's go." So we go outside and we walking down the hill. Mind you, we live by the track also. We live just up the street from where they just moved into, to the new house they just moved into. Outside in the morning. The whole family is outside. The whole family. I'm talking about they all was outside. A whole bunch of Italian people was outside the house. So we stopped. He was like, "Oh, hell no." Turned around. He seen us. He turned around and walked us back up. He walked me back up. So he was like, "Yo, we not going outside today. We going to chill in the crib and play video games. Playing Nintendo." Alright, cool. Next day, we about to go out. I go out, bro, with my cousin. So we walking past the house. We know she's the aunt. She come out. She said, "Come here. I want to talk to both of y'all." We come outside. We come across, like, we walking towards across the street. As I'm walking to her, she said, "You know my nephew died in his sleep?" So we jump back. I thought it was fake. She's like, "You know my nephew's dead. My nephew never woke up. He died right here on the couch." So I thought it was fake, and my cousin was like, "Well, we ain't got nothing to do with it." She was like, "No, you have everything to do with it, because the Jamaican lady snitched on us." She was like, "He was out here fighting him, right? And now he's dead." And she said, everybody is scared of this little boy. Everybody is scared of him. She said, "You got him out here in the sun all day. Look what color he is. Fighting everybody." She said, "How you think everybody's going to look at him?" He was like, "Come on, Jew, we out." So he grabbed me, and we walked all the way around. Went back in the crib. I don't know what had happened. The police came and asked, what happened? But it was the irony. You just said you were going to kill us, right? Because this is after Max touched me. Now you question us about a murder or manslaughter or whatever. So my aunt was like, "My family don't have nothing to do with it. Whatever," and shut the door. So I go back to Yonkers. So now I'm just learning that the dude I had a fight with, he died. And what was the craziest thing about it is, we had moved into a new house in Yonkers, right? So I'm in the park, in Trevor Park. And I picked up a rock, right? Because I was scared of the squirrels. I was scared of them joints. And I threw the rock at the squirrel so he could run away. Do you know that the rock hit the squirrel, dog? And killed the squirrel right there? People was watching me. I killed the squirrel right afterwards. I couldn't believe it. They started looking at me. They was like, "Oh my God, and I was like, and he's like, "Oh no, don't cry. We know you were scared. You tried to scare him away." I was like, I was heartbroken because it was like a little squirrel. It was a baby squirrel, but the parents was like acting like protecting the young. Like the parents was acting wild, mean. Like the squirrels was mean. Like, so I was like, "Oh no!" And I threw the rock and it hit the baby squirrel and killed the baby squirrel. everybody, they was about to start yelling at me, and I was like, and he just thought about, like, yo, I just keep killing. Like, I started crying, like I was about to, like I started like screaming, like, oh my God. So they went from about to yell at me, like, oh no. They was like, no, and the Spanish woman was like, no, Poppy, it's okay. We know you was scared, because they are out here attacked, like looking like they're in attack mode. And plus there was another squirrel with like white foam around his mouth, walking all like slow. He had rabies. So I knew what it was, and I was dumb scared. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, man. I couldn't believe it. So I was just like, I was taken back. As soon as I moved to Yonkers, I started fighting. They was like, that's the kid that killed the squirrel. We don't care. Started fighting again. Fighting a whole new hood. Fighting a whole bunch of black people or whatever. I just would not back down. Like, I was just like, no. I'm like, not again. Like, I didn't do it on purpose. Y'all not about to sit up here and, no. Start fighting in Yonkers, and I got my respect in Yonkers. It's like, yo, he's a thoroughbred. Like he killed the squirrel and still started winning fights. It's like, yeah, that's God telling you something. It ain't over. So now, I'm scared to go back to White Plains. My cousin is getting jumped. My cousin is getting, he had to find like a whole new group of people to hang out with, because he used to hang out with white people. Now he hanging out with the Jamaicans, like dark-skinned people, whatever. They protecting him. My aunt is like, yeah, like there's so much stuff happening. Like 15 people with bikes came out here from Elmsford. They jumped your cousin. Then they did it again in front of me. So look, the winter break, he almost got jumped again by the same cats. They came out here. They came out the White Plains on bikes. Literally, it was like 15. I'm dead serious. And I'm still 6 years younger than my cousin. So I'm like 9, about to be 10. So one of the kids, he was like, yo, Paris. I think his name was BJ or something. Like, he literally fell off his bike, and he was embarrassed that he fell off, but he fell off in front of his mans and rolled off. He was like, nah, I want my fight. I want my fair, my fair one with you. So I start walking up to Paris or whatever. Paris is like, yo, I'm not even trying to fight in front of my little cousin. So I'm like, nah. I start crying or whatever. So he start pushing Paris, and Paris like, come on, yo. So he's pushing him. So I turned around. Boom! Punched the kid in the stomach, like in the nuts area. He was like, oh! I caught him again. Boom! They was like, yo, the little kid is fighting. They was like, yo, little kid's fighting the teenagers. I was screaming. I started wailing on him. Bang, bang, bang. And I started looking at my cousin different, like, yo, you is soft. I'm out here, and then the kids started running. They got their bikes or whatever. They was like, nah, we out. And they left. And the other kid, he started laughing. He was like, yo, your cousin is realer than you. He's like, you're not gonna have him with you all the time. We gonna come with a gun the next time. He's like, see, Drew, I tried to tell you, I tried to teach you. They not gonna want to try to fight us fair. They gonna use knives and guns or whatever. I'm like, nah, but if you let them punch you one time, they gonna keep punching you, and then they gonna stab you after they punch you. They gonna make it worse. He was like, yo, you right. Got worse. So that was the winter break. So we didn't see Max. Summer break again comes. Who do we see on the track? This time, Max got a full tuxedo on. He's running around the court. Running around the track as we coming down from the basketball court on Eastview. So Paris is like, no way. He was like, dude, it's dumb fast, right? So as we coming down, right, he's finishing his interval, and he stops, right? And he starts running back and forth like this on the track. So when he started running to us, he stopped halfway. So I looked at Paris. I was like, Max is fast. And as soon as I started to say fast, all I heard was the FA66ET word. And I looked, and Paris grabbed me. So I seen Max like he stopped, and I guess I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was my cousin. I don't know if it was Max or whatever. But he looks at me like, got mad, like he got extra mad at me. He started staring at me. My cousin pulled me or whatever. He started going like this to me, like that. So I was walking, but I was walking wild slow. And the cousin was like, come on, he ain't gonna do nothing. He was like, yo, if he say it do anything to you, like, nah. He was like, that's when I'm gonna fight or whatever. He was like, cause you my little cousin. He start putting the sweet nothings in my ear. So I'm like, oh, alright. So we walking up the hill and we go to open the door, right? So this Italian lady she was homeless. She used to always stay in front of the boxing gym and ask the professional boxers for like money or whatever. But she always had a knife. She used to cut people and everything, right? So, and I was 9 going on 10. You know what I'm saying? I was 9. I'm going on 10. As a matter of fact, it wasn't the summertime. It wasn't the summertime. It was actually the same winter break, but it was hot outside. It was like March, April-ish or whatever. It was hot outside. Sorry. The fight that happened was in the summertime where me and the dude he supposedly died. But with the bike situation, that was all the same. What is it? The spring break. It was like a spring break that we get. The touching when I was 8 happened in the winter. Was it the winter break? Or is that's the spring break too? So it was the spring break. So fucking excuse my language. He jumped at me, like when we opened the door. He jumped at me, like, and he had his knife showing in his pocket, and the lady pulled out the knife at the same time. So my cousin grabbed me. He's like, "Yo!" He brought me back up to the house. So the next day, right, we about to go outside. I got this ball in my hand. I'm playing with the ball in the crib, but I'm not throwing it up crazy. I'm just juggling in my hand. My cousin hits my ball with his ball, and it hits the chandelier, and the chandelier falls, right, and it hits me in my head. Now, mind you, I'm still under the age of reasoning, and like when it was happening, like I was looking in the mirror, and like the ball caused some type of like static electricity, but it was like a magnet at the same time because it was like a marble ball. It wasn't like a basketball or kickball. It was one of those soft balls, not a softball like you play baseball, but it was like a round kid baby ball. You know, like the softballs you could, throw at your kid or whatever, teach them how to catch, nothing hard. I'm looking in the mirror, and it's like a green light, like a green static light connects, and pow! And the joint falls on me. And I'm like, yo. And I was smart. I'm like, see, I got hit with something sharp. And Max yesterday and the lady yesterday, they were the first and only people to ever jump at me with something sharp. So when I got older, further in my education, he had a sped up heart rate. And, he had malice towards me. And if you look at the age of reasoning, that's why, child killers, killer children, they don't get charged, like adults, because the brain is still like a sponge. So they say, in the age of reasoning, you can't do certain things because you'll jinx your kid or you'll jinx somebody else's kid. So he was the only person to jump at me with something sharp. And if you look at the age of reasoning with the woman, you'll see that I'm absolutely correct. My parents never did it to me. My cousins never did it to me. And ironically, the next day I got hurt. So it's like I always blamed them or whatever for it. And then he seen, like, I had to stay in the house for like 2 or 3 weeks for everything like to heal up. So I walk into the gym, right? When I walk into the gym, I got a patch over my head. He starts laughing at me. Everybody was like, yo, we heard what happened. And the boxer was like, yo, you're laughing at a kid? He has that mark on his head for the rest of his life. And I was about to start crying, like, you know what I'm saying? So he started laughing at me. He left. And I never seen him after that in person. So people was like, yo, like, what's the reason they're talking about it now? Like, I feel like, how you feel like your intuition, like somebody's thinking about you, or somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, you feel the intuition. Like, I actually feel that this man has been thinking about me every day of my life since then. So it's like when I was watching him on First Take, like it's like he has me in his brain, like, and I'm like an imaginary figure that goes to work with him. Like I feel his presence, like I feel him thinking about me till this day, 20 some odd years later. And when I started watching him, it's like he obtained degree against me, and like he's a weirdo, like, so it's like he probably looks at me as like one of his victims because he did jump at me with something sharp, and he did laugh at me. And then I found out later in life that he has a scar on his lip, and I think a burn or whatever it is. So he's probably he's probably miserable, and now he feels good because I have a huge scar thanks to him. And it's like it's disgusting to me, bro. And like I'm tired of it because I already know this man is thinking about me, and like it's time to expose you. Like we tried to, press charges. You was saved by the police. You're responsible for my scar. Like, what's really going on? Like, you looked at me. Like, you looked at my privacy. I seen you have intercourse with another man. Like, I can't take it no more. After watching First Take and watching his other shows, I reached out to people. I know a couple famous people. And then he was taken off for First Take. I knew somebody that knows Stephen A. And the person told me, like, I told Stephen A. So, he's not on there anymore. But I could feel this man still thinking about me. And I wanted to stop. And I want him to be exposed. That's my video.